Hi, this is Ted. For the last 9 years, I have been researching, looking into faith healing and the different prophets and stuff like that. So what I decided today is to revisit and to go back over some of the more important stuff that I think that I've picked up, at least stuff that I feel like was really important in this journey. And the very first thing, and I'm going to actually have to do this in several videos because there's no way I can do it all in one video. But to begin with, I'm just going to talk today about something called the placebo effect. And that is one of the bigger things I think I discovered, learned about it, and discovered, but I learned about it, and I learned how appropriate it is, how much it fits in with the whole faith healing movement and with all the stuff going on with the signs and wonders and stuff. What is a placebo effect? You know, I don't even know if the best experts know exactly what it is, and I'm such an amateur at this, I'm going to just go ahead and try to give you an understanding of what goes on. Our brains react to expectation tremendously. When you are expecting something, your brain goes into a whole different kind of area, and it starts pushing out something called placebos, especially when you have an authority telling you something. There's somebody in this audience getting healed of arthritis. When that is said, and my expectation and my trust in that authority are mixed together, something happens in my brain, and my brain sends out endorphins. And those endorphins fill up my body and do all kinds of amazing things. One of the things it does, and one of the things that it especially does, is work with pain. Now, this doesn't work for everybody. That's why not everybody gets healed at these crusades and places, signs and wonders and prayer lines. But as endorphins get sent out into my body, pain goes away. For many people, 80-some% of the people in Catherine Kuhlman's stage and Benny Hinn's stages talk about the lack of pain. That's because that's the best problem. The most effective way that these endorphins work is shooting and shutting down pain, at least temporarily. Now notice I mentioned temporarily. All these prophets, all these faith healers know that people lose their healing. They claim and will put the blame on these people and say that's because they don't have enough faith or they have done something wrong. And then they have books on how to keep your healing, how to regain your healing, which are all bogus, because all that's happened is the endorphins were sent out into the body, and as the endorphins were sent out in the body, these people felt like something special happened. Pain left. If pain leaves, I can move my arm like I have not been able to for 5 years. Not me, but you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm able to get up out of my wheelchair. I could always get up out of the wheelchair. And if somebody can't get out of their wheelchair, 100% lame, 100% blind, 100% deaf, they're not going to get any improvement whatsoever from a placebo. But a placebo can give a temporary relief, not only in pain, but also in other areas. But pain is the number one thing. So that's one of the main things I learned. And one of the sure signs is that it is temporary most of the time. I'm convinced that sometimes it can be permanent. There's a whole string of reasons and stuff I just don't have time to get into, but I think the temporary is not always the case. I think sometimes people can get permanent healing from certain diseases and even pain from the placebo effect. And I believe this is not just for faith healers, but it's also in different types of medicines, different types of healers out there, New Age healers, whatever, because they're all working with that same ingredient, the placebo. I know this girl, and she goes in the healing line every Sunday at her church. Why? Because she gets temporary healing every time. And I am told this by somebody who has no idea why or how this happens. And when I hear that, I said, I know what's going on. It's that placebo. She's expecting it, and it is something that the endorphins were shooting in her body, and she now feels so much better. And the pain that she feels all the time goes away. So she goes up Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. It's kind of like taking Advil. You know, pain will go away, but the pain comes back because it is only relieving a symptom. It is not curing the disease. And that is what you were seeing on stages with people all excited. When I first started this stuff, a lot of people would say, oh, they're just actors. They're not actors. You don't need actors. All you need is that placebo, and you will have people on stage saying, I'm healed. And they believe with all their heart they're being healed. What else can you say? Okay, I'm sitting around, I'm feeling pain, and the pain is because of arthritis, which is a physical disease, and I can't get rid of that arthritis ever. It's going to be there. So I go to church, and they say it's healed, and I feel the pain go away, and I expect it now. It is healed, but it hasn't been. If you were to get x-rays right then with the pain gone, you're going to see arthritis, and the pain is going to return in 99% of the cases, over 99% of the cases. That's my figure. I made it up, but I am not going to say that I read that anyplace. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about in relation to this, people who do the healing don't follow up. There's no follow-up program that I know of. Benny Hinn has given 2 reasons he does not follow up. He said he did for a short while, and people got mad at him. Why are you following up? I said I was healed. I don't buy that. People don't get mad. You have a doctor who's not even a Christian, well, not an evangelical Christian or charismatic, who's following up on Catherine Kuhlman healing, and people are willing to. 27, almost a third of the people, the names that he was given, followed up, and allow him to talk to their doctors and follow up for a year. All right, people are willing to tell you what's going on. All right, so follow-up is really, really bad. And so my whole suggestion, if you have a faith healing ministry or any kind of healing ministry, set up some kind of follow-up where you can dig in and find out what's going on. Follow up with a doctor, follow up with all this kind of stuff. One doctor did this, William Nolan. He did this with Catherine Kuhlman, as I mentioned, with 27 people who gave him their names. Could have been 23, but it's been a while since I read that book. But none of them were healed. And this is a random sampling, and that is a good sampling. You know, when I do this, I want to look at the Bible, but I also want to look at scientific evidence. What kind of evidence is really out there? Not just storytelling. Come on, people. Don't buy these stories. And I don't care. Stories of any kind are not evidence. Because so much goes into a story that is contrived, is fantasy, is exaggerated, is passed on. It's just not legit. I like the fact that William Nolan randomly samples. In other words, he grabs 70-some people out of the audience. He doesn't care what he's going to find out. He doesn't know yet what he's going to find out. He asks them. On the other hand, you have people who will put out 10 surefire, they were healed, and put them in a book against William Nolan. Well, this is what I call the casino effect. You're going to have a few winners. And I'm not going to get into how they won or anything like that, but the fact of the matter is you're going to have a few winners. And with those winners, you want to promote them, put them up in front and center, and say, this is what goes on for everybody. But it doesn't work like that. Another random sampling came from some lawyers, pastors, physicians, and professors. One lawyer, by the way. They randomly sampled 350 people who, quote unquote, were healed and claimed to be healed in a Charles Price healing crusade. Now, Charles Price, you may not know him, it was about 100 years ago, and Catherine Kuhlman got a lot of her influence from him, and other main big evangelists did as well, because he was big in his day. And they randomly sampled this group of people, 350 people. And out of that 350 people, 5 were really healed. Now, that means 345 were not healed. Within 6 months, 39 of those people who said they were healed died. 5 people were healed, as I mentioned. One person they saw and talked to, his face was absolutely destroyed from cancer, blood and pus and all kinds of stuff coming from his face. He's holding a handkerchief to it and he's saying, "I was healed." He wasn't healed. He's claiming that. That's another issue, totally. All right, so 6 months after the fact, after the healing, they have found 5 people healed. What 5 people were healed? 5 people with functional diseases. And this is another area that I've learned in the last 9 years. There's a difference, and I think if you set up a follow-up routine, follow-up for healing, I have no problem with people praying for the sick, but do a follow-up, please. Okay, and these people, learn your diseases, because functional diseases, there's 5 that were healed in Charles Price crusades, totally cured. All of them from functional diseases. What's a functional disease? My wife had hearing loss a few years ago. And what I wanted to find out is, did she have organic or functional disease? Because if it was organic, if it was something that was structural, her hearing loss is probably going to be permanent unless a miracle happens. If it's functional, there's a good possibility it's going to return. The doctor gave her his conclusions, and looking at that and studying all about what she had, I couldn't tell. I didn't know. Neither did the doctor. He said this could be brought on because of stress. He didn't know. And if it's brought on because of stress or some other reason, there are a lot of different reasons it could be functional, it is functional. In other words, the mind helped create the disease, and the mind can help uncreate it and bring about healing. And that is what these people are capitalizing in when they have signs and wonders, and then they promote the few who do succeed. Now, I'm not saying there are no miracles going on. I'm just saying, take a closer look and ask, is it functional? Is it structural / organic? Last thing, could God use a functional disease? I mean, could God actually heal somebody from a functional disease? I have no problem with that. But you won't be able to say this is a miracle per se. I've seen one case where a child in the hospital, the doctors all said he had, or she had, 10-month-old, she had sinus infection. A bunch of us prayed for her. There was no claiming and using authority and all that kind of stuff. It just, we prayed. Really lame prayers, all right, from a Pentecostal, charismatic point of view. And she's in the hospital. The doctors already said she has an ear infection. While we were talking after the prayer, the child got really lively. And the mother was totally distracted and said, I've never seen her like that. The child was 10 months old. She had never seen her child that active. A week later, I get a phone call. The doctors could not find anything after they did further tests. There was no infection. So was that a functional disease? Actually, I don't know if it was functional or organic. I really don't. I consider it a miracle, however, simply because of the timing was so good. Nevertheless, am I able to prove that in any way, shape, or form? If I got the medical records, which this is 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, 25 years ago, so I don't think it's going to be ever happening, and I don't feel like digging them up. But take it either way. I think it could have been very possible that the ears just drained right then, and could have drained at any minute after that. Who knows? I don't know. And I don't know if it was functional or organic. Either way, I consider it, and I thank God for that. And I've seen several cases like that where I would say that it's not organic, in all likelihood it's functional, but I still think the timing says something that God used, that God did something. So, once again, I have no problem with praying for the sick and praying for healing. I have no problem with for expecting it, but do your homework. Learn the differences between diseases, and then take that experience and follow up. Have the people go in and see doctors. Talk to the doctors, find out, talk to them and see what the doctor said. Did it really disappear? Did the arthritis really disappear? In conclusion, Moses is before Pharaoh and his magicians. Four miracles took place that his magicians could copy. It was the fourth plague, the fifth miracle, up until the 11th, the 10th plague, that they could not reproduce. Why? Because those were miraculous. Those set him apart, set God apart from the gods of Egypt. So, what I'm saying is these signs and wonders that they're all excited about, look closer and see if they really are anything beyond what Pharaoh and his people could do, what the placebo effect can do. And this is Ted. You all have a good one.